They like to throw it, go 4 wides. It was going to be a big challenge regardless, but now the next guy has to step up and do the job. The most dangerous Cardinals receiver, DeAndre Hopkins. In fact, head coach Cliff Kingsbury told me this week he considers Hopkins singularly responsible for Arizona improving from middle of the pack on offense to leading the NFL in offense. He's definitely made Murray more prolific, just as Stephon Diggs has impacted Josh Allen and the Bills' offense. Murray's completed 60 passes to Hopkins, a total exceeded only by the 63 completions Allen has to Diggs. Arizona's Steve Keim and Buffalo's Brandon Beane both made offseason trades for #1 receivers, and I spoke to both GMs this week. Keim said he always had an affinity for Hopkins, describing him as amazing and saying his productivity was off the charts. And Beane pursued Diggs again at the 2019 trade deadline, finally got him this offseason, an elite route runner who can defeat press coverage. And Sam, his practice intensity reminded Beane of Steve Smith when they were together in Carolina.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, look, there's so much to talk about when you talk about these two teams, but I think what Ed just mentioned is the thing that stands out the most outside of the quarterbacks, Randy, is I think this has got to be used by agents all over the country of #1 receivers. What Cliff said, that DeAndre was singularly responsible from taking them from a middle-of-the-road team. Beyond that, when you see these two guys, Randy, what do you think about the impact that a #1 receiver can make?
Well, let me talk about what I plan to see today between the two offenses. When you're messing with a guy like DeAndre Hopkins, and he did give this offense a facelift, we talk about a 3-by-1, 3 receivers and 1 receiver, but DeAndre Hopkins mainly plays on Kyler Murray's left side. As a wide receiver, I don't know, is his left side his strength? That he likes catching balls, looking to his inside, I don't know. But when you're messing with talking about the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen with Stephon Diggs is not going to be on your left side, Matt. He's not going to be on your right side. He's going to be in the slot. He's going to be in bunt set. So the point that I'm making, they're going to move a guy like Stephon Diggs all around the offense and make the defense find out where Stephon Diggs is at. On the other side, let me go back to Arizona with DeAndre Hopkins being on the left side. By him being on the left side, defensively, the defense has to tell you or show Kyler Murray what they're able to do. So that's why we said earlier in the season, 3-by-1, man-to-man, Buffalo, Leslie Frazier, the D coordinator at the Buffalo Bills, likes to play some man coverage. So this will be a big day by these #1 wide receivers because it's man on both sides.
You know, it's crazy, though. If you really look at this, as if there was a question on who got the better deal, did Arizona get the better deal with Hopkins? Did the Bills get the better deal with Diggs? This is a tie. Like, look at the numbers that we put up there. Yeah. It's absolutely crazy. And both teams have gone like this. And now they're in not just in a playoff picture, but they're a real threat to go deep in playoffs. And for the whole league to let guys like this go, you got to be thinking twice. If you got one of those #1 receivers, you better hang on to him.
And those #1s in 4 wide receiver sets. And you're talking about DeAndre Hopkins and what Ed's talking about, Sam, with DBs being down, Josh Norman and 2 others, 3 DBs not being there. Rex, 4 wides come in, linebackers come off the field, and in come more DBs. So that depth's going to be questioned, especially for Leslie Frazier and the Bills defense.
No doubt. And I just remember when we would go into a game plan, 4 wides was a way to spread out the field, get athletes in space. It was also a great way to run the football because, again, you got athletes in space. They've got 4 both of these teams, but talking specifically about Arizona, they've got 4 legitimate wide receivers. And what does that also do? It creates running lanes for your quarterback. So, Sam, you mentioned it early. These are great running quarterbacks. Having 4 wide receiver sets limits the amount of blitzing that you see, ironically. And then it also creates opportunities for 2 of the best runners in the game at the quarterback position to take off and run.
Let me just say this, flipping it over to the Arizona Cardinals defense, because of those Bills you're talking about, they also run some 4 wide receiver sets. It's about time Isaiah Simmons made a difference. The number one pick, that linebacker out of Clemson, because last week he played 32 snaps. It's the most action he's had all year long. You got a 4 wide set, and you talk about athletes. There's your athlete right there that can do a lot of things from that linebacker position. I hope Isaiah Simmons has a big role today.
Yeah, it would be a good day for him to have a big game because we've been talking about all the Bills issues with the COVID list, but the Cardinals have some key guys on defense questionable or out. Budda Baker with a groin injury, and then Kirkpatrick both questionable, and of course on offense, Kenyon Drake also questionable. Let's get to our standings now. Rex's favorite segment of the show.
Oh, can we just
literally
put
all season
something?
long. Randy Moss is making moves.
I see you dropping, Sam. I'm coming. I am coming, Rex.
I'm like the Saints. I just
Oh,
go
my
get slowly
No,
better.
okay,
Here we
but
go. Here we
you're
go.
But
Striving
have
for
you
mediocrity.
though? Let's get to our game picks, starting with the Ravens and the Patriots. This one in Foxborough would be a huge win for Cam Newton, and boy, did they need it. Who are you taking, Randy?
With a lot of positive things going on in the passing game, what we've seen of late from the New England Patriots, I really don't think that Jacoby Myers, the undrafted free agent, just in his second year is going to be enough. We said that Wink Martindale and that defense going to play man coverage, sending guys all day. I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, I have to go with the Ravens here, and for those points for sure, without question. But look, the lack of weapons, man. Wink Martindale, you mentioned that he's got to be licking his chops for this one. So, to me, I think the Ravens win that.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. I'm going to go with the Baltimore Ravens. I just think those edge defenders in New England and the scheme that Baltimore has, even if the Patriots are calling out those plays, you know what it is? I just don't think they can stop it.
I'm going to go with Baltimore as well, and the reason why is I think that Lamar Jackson's one of the best quarterbacks in the game throwing to tight ends, and Mark Andrews is the guy. That's his, it's his binky, as Teddy likes to say, but he's a touchdown machine. Over the last 2 years, he's had 15 touchdowns. That's second in the entire NFL. And this year, he's got 5 touchdowns. So people are talking about, their passing numbers aren't as good. They're not up there. Mark Andrews is still having a great year like he did last year and the year before. So that's why I think the Baltimore Ravens are a safer bet today.
Yeah, look, I do have concerns about Mark Ingram being questionable. My biggest concern for the Ravens on defense is with Calais Campbell out and Jimmy Smith questionable. I still think they have too much for this Patriots defense to handle in Lamar Jackson. I think he has a big day, and I'm going with the Ravens. Let's get to the Texans and the Browns. Baker Mayfield against Deshaun Watson in Cleveland. Who are you going with?
Teddy, you put up a tape earlier of a man coming back from IR doing them lunges with that big lower body. Man, I think the weather going to be a factor in Cleveland today. You talked about Kareem Hunt, talking about Nick Chubb. Before Nick Chubb went out, that was the best duo in the NFL. I'm glad he's back and going with the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, and fans, I sit back. You see the numbers I post each week. I'm telling you, take the Browns in this one.
All right.
Really? Okay. Well, I'm not going to
Pride
answer
comes
them
before
numbers
the
you're
fall,
talking
Rex.
about, Rex. I'm going to take the Houston Texans. And just the inconsistency that is the Cleveland Browns. I know Myles Garrett is going to be chasing after this man all day long in Deshaun Watson, but I just think this guy is the best player on the field, and he is going to come up somehow, some way to make explosive plays. Give me the Texans in this one, Rex, going against everything that you think.
There you go.
Well, Teddy, Deshaun Watson made plays all over the field, but he's not on the field when the Cleveland Browns are holding on to the football.
Yes.
Like those guys said, like Randy said, and Rex said nothing, but like Randy said, this was the best rushing attack in all of football when they had Chubb and they had Hunt together. And when Chubb went out, they dropped mightily. They were 25th in rushing all of a sudden. Kevin Stefanski wants to get back to running the ball. That'll help Baker. And I think Nick Chubb is probably one of the most underrated running backs. Yeah. And if you talk to people who have to tackle people, Nick Chubb's the guy they don't want to tackle. So I'll take the Browns.
Yeah, bad weather on the road. I think with David Johnson out in this one, it's all on Deshaun Watson. And as much as I trust him, I just don't trust the pieces around him or that defense. So I'm going with the Browns in Nick Chubb's return. Let's get to the Eagles and the Giants. Look, this is a big one in the NFC East. Only a game different in the win column between first and last. So who are you taking to MetLife, Randy?
Well, I'm going to tell you what I've seen from the Philadelphia Eagles of lately and Carson Wentz's struggles, just over the last couple of weeks, I like what I've seen from the New York Giants on the defensive side, led by defensive coordinator Patrick Graham. With them at home, is that your son right there, Danny Dimes Rex? Well,
yes, it is.
Man,
Are you
give me Danny Rex, Ryan Jones at home. Give me the Giants.
Well, I look at this one here. I'm going to put a tape together, and Brandon Graham just dominated the game the last time these two teams met. And when I look at this guy, a little undersized guy, man, does he have a great motor. We remember when he closed out the Super Bowl against Tom Brady with a strip sack. He did it here to close out this game the last time these two teams met. So, of course, I'm going to take the Philadelphia Eagles. No, I'm not. And I'll tell you why. Joe Judge, to me, Sal Powell talked about what Joe Judge did, and I think it was, you talk about a thing that's going to galvanize a team. They don't just see Joe Judge as a certain way. They're seeing how he talked about, showing the passion that his team has now, where they were, where they're at now. I love what he did. I'm going to take the Giants.
Yeah, what really brings the team together, especially in offense, is when your quarterback doesn't turn it over. Daniel Jones last week had his best game in terms of that. And all I'm saying is Daniel Jones just maybe have one today, and you'll win the game. I'm going to go with the New York Giants. And don't sleep on Blake Martinez. People forget about him at the inside linebacker position, tackle machine in Green Bay. Now he's in New York doing great things for that defense. Great player. I'll take the Giants.
Yeah, Blake's having a Pro Bowl year, and I think the New York Giants are an improving team. It's tempting to take them, but I'm not going to take them. And Rex, you mentioned Brandon Graham. It's those plays that close out a game, a great pass rush. Believe it or not, Philly has a great pass rush. And so, to me, a great pass rush against the Giants, I'll take